Hello, Mary C. Williams friends. This is Miss Britt here. I wanted to go over your lesson for today. We are still subtracting fractions like you did with Miss Caldwell yesterday. And there are a couple models here, but I feel like you guys are pretty good with understanding how to subtract fractions, that you wouldn't necessarily need to use fraction strips, but you can use some virtual ones or some if you have them at home. All right, so join me on page 124. I'm going to go over problems number 1, 2, and problem number 3. Your job will be to do problem number 4 and simplify it. I'm going to explain to you problem number 5. You have to do it. Problem number 6 you have to do and you have to simplify. Problem number 7 you need to do and simplify. And then number 8, complete it and simplify. So your job is 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then you are going to simplify 4, 6, 8, and 7. And then I'm going to explain to you about this one. All right. Number 1. 4/5 subtract 1/5 equals 3/5. And we know that is true because when you are adding or subtracting fractions, your denominators have to be the same, and then your denominator stays the same. All you have to do is worry about your numerators. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then using these fraction bars, you can see that if you start out with 1, 2, 3, 4/5, and you take away 1, that you are still left with 1, 2, 3/5. All right, number 2, our denominators are the same, and our denominator will what? Perfect, stay the same. So I can just move that right on over. 3 minus 1 is perfect. And we can see here that if we start out with 3/4 and we take away 1/4, that we are left with 2/4. Or this model is trying to show you that what is the difference between 3/4 and 1/4? The difference is this space right here, which is made up of 1/4 and 2/4. So that's what this model is trying to show you. Now, I know that this one can be simplified. I knew that this one could not. So because this one can be simplified, I need to write the factors of 2, 1, 2. I need to write the factors of 4, 1, 2, 4. And then I need to find the greatest common factor that they have, which is 2. And what do I need to do? Perfect, divide by it. Divide by 2/2, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So 2/4 also equals 1/2. So this is my simplified answer. For your problems, number 4, 6, 7, and 8, you are going to need to do the work to simplify your answers. All right, one more. Number 3. All right, my denominators are the same, so my denominator will what? Perfect, it will stay the same. 5 minus 1 is perfect. 4, they're both even numbers, so I know automatically that I can divide by something. I know I can divide by 2 if they're even. But let's just do the factors. 1, 2, 4. 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Factors of 6 equals greatest common factor, 2. So I'm going to say 4, 6 divided by 2/2 equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my simplified answer is 2/3. 4/6 equals the same thing as 2/3. All right, so you have to do, like I've already said, these, and you have to simplify them, but I'm going to explain number 5 to you. So number 5, I'm going to use a model. Number 5 says 1 whole. That's what this means. This big 1 means 1 whole. 1 whole, and we are going to take away 2/3. We want to know what is left over. So this 1 whole, I'm going to take away 1/3. I'm going to take away 2/3. What is left over? Well, what's the space that's left over? Perfect. Just the room for that last third. So when you think about, anytime you see 1 whole minus something, what your brain really needs to think is, I'm going to change that 1 whole into 3/3. So you need to always change or convert 1 whole into whatever this denominator is. That denominator is 3, so 1 whole would be 3/3. And then subtract 2/3 from it, because you need to have the same denominator. And 1 whole, 3/3 is the same thing as 1 whole. Now, I can do another problem, such as 1 whole minus 2/4. Well, in this case, I have my 1 whole, but this time I'm dealing with fourths. So because I'm dealing with fourths, because that denominator is a 4, I need to change my 1 whole into fourths. So I would say this denominator is 4, so I'm not going to write it as 1 whole. I'm going to write it as 4/4, because 4/4 is the same thing as 1 whole. That was a 1. And then take away my 2/4. So anytime you start out with a 1 whole and you're trying to subtract something, you need to change it into whatever the denominator is. Now there will be some times where this is a different number, and we'll talk about how to convert that. But for 1 whole, you just change it into the 3/3 here. All right, my friends, I hope this video helps you be successful today. Thanks so much.